Welcome to Musings and Modalities. I'm your host, Tristen Stawicki. Think of me as your pragmatic shaman bestie. Join in with other high-vibe, lovely people as I unravel spiritual ideas to help create change and growth in your life. I cover a variety of spiritual topics, sharing knowledge to meet you wherever you are in your journey. As a shaman, astrologer, and human design reader, I help you understand how to make informed decisions and incorporate different modalities using discernment and your own intuition. Today, you will gain powerful shamanic healing tools you can use to incorporate spiritual practices in non-traditional ways. Whether you're just beginning or need a knowledgeable best friend with the next phase of your journey, I'm here to help. Stay tuned. Musings and Modalities starts now. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Musings and Modalities. I'm Tristen Stawicki, your pragmatic shaman bestie, and I'm so excited for today's episode, Sword Yoga Fusion. What if yoga had swords? I'm here today with Sabina Storberg, founder of WeaponUp, to discuss the path of the Graceful Warrior. Her platform shares the joy and graceful movement of sword yoga fusion, taking her experiences studying in China, learning the art of Kung Fu straight sword, and her travels to India and Spain for extensive yoga teacher training. Her platform, WeaponUp, offers a modern fitness experience that fuses Kung Fu, yoga, dance, and intuitive movement, emphasizing graceful movement and joy. Sabina, welcome and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Tristen, for having me. It's such a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Oh, me too. I love the WeaponUp platform. I am a user of it. I'm working through like the foundations of sword mastery because this is very new to me. And what I love about it is that it uses technology, which is exactly my jam, to honor and share tradition. And so I'd love to hear your approach to respecting the disciplines you've studied while also bringing your voice and approach to sword yoga fusion.
Thank you so much. I really love the questions that you've prepared, and I know that we spoke a little bit before, because I think it's really important, one, to honor traditions, but also then innovate on them. Because I was thinking about this a little bit earlier this week, and I was thinking, what does it mean to really only stick to one traditional path? And what does it mean to innovate on it? And who are the followers of a traditional path and who would benefit much more from innovation or fusion or bringing different things into something that might not necessarily have been for you? So both Kung Fu and yoga traditionally, hundreds of years ago, were not even accessible to women. For example, yoga was a purely male sport or traditional philosophical practice. And Kung Fu, of course, very much male dominated, very focused on Shaolin masters, etc. So it's really, they've both traditionally been very male dominated. And I practice both of these disciplines. And for, I think, over 10 years, the thing that kept me stuck in never wanting to share sword yoga with the world, because I created this practice from those two very, very disciplined traditional movements, the thing that kept me stuck was, is anybody going to, criticize or think, what is this person doing bringing these two traditional practices into this fusion? Is she's not, how do I say this? Like, it's, there was this fear that it was going to be seen like a gimmick and not for the true practice that it was for those 12 years. And so that's what kept it, that idea of, I have to stay traditional, I have to do, the yoga the way that it's meant to be practiced in India, and I have to respect martial arts and Shaolin Kung Fu the way that I did it in China, because I really did go to the source. That was always my intention, is learn from the source, go there, experience it. But then what happened when I left both those countries and I, quote unquote, entered the real world, where I was, I had a career for over 9 years before I launched WeaponUp. I took the disciplines and I created my own practice, what felt right for me. And I fell in love with the straight sword like you would not believe, Tristan. When I was practicing in China, so I lived in China for 2 years in a Shaolin Kung Fu Academy, and I was practicing from 6 in the morning until 6 at night, every single day, Kung Fu. I was in deep meditation, practicing Qigong, etc. Truly, there was a point in my life while I was there where I had to choose. The master asked me to become his disciple, and I had to choose, will I do this very, very traditional path, or will I enter into, let's say, the real world and go for a career and try to do that. And at that time, I was super young. And I chose, let's say, the real world because even though I had these extremely amazing experiences of being in this Kung Fu Academy, and I didn't think I had enough life experiences that I wanted and what I wanted to share with the world. And I'm really glad that I chose this kind of more alternative fusion path than the very traditional one. But yeah, I think for me, how I honor those traditions is the 12 years of practice that I've put into it. But what I took away from them, I started to melt the two together. And that's what became my personal practice. It was bring the sword, bring the yoga, and remove any of the really kind of what I felt were the harmful aspects of martial arts, which is very strict, very strong. A lot of students had injuries. And then maybe some of the, I would say, um, some of the things in yoga that I didn't really love, which were sometimes it might be a little bit slow or has to be done in a certain way. And I just thought, I'm bringing these two things together. I love them, and I hope other people do too.
Absolutely. And what I love is the expansiveness of the energy is what you're kind of referencing to. Is like with honoring and learning the tradition, which is a step we should not skip, right? I did the same with shamanism. Now I use it for leadership training, which is again a fusion of its own, right? A little bit different than what you're doing, but honoring the tradition while also bringing it into the next level. But that expansive energy where you're like, I could stay here in this space, and it also feels very limiting because I haven't had those other experiences. So thank you so much for sharing that. That was absolutely beautiful.
And I also think that when you step out of that traditional path, if you will, you also meet people that would have never ever seen you or spoken to you or even be interested in what you're doing if you stayed with that language, with that tradition, with the specific levels of strictness that certain people are called to when it's that specific path. So I think for me, when I launched Sword Yoga, when I launched WeaponUp, it was incredible the people that I started meeting, the community that started forming around it, because I never expected it. I was hoping that that was going to be the case, but it had been such a long personal journey that I had zero idea how it'd be received. And the people that I started meeting were never people I was going to meet in real life. And the people that I was um, kind of exposed to. And now it's become my whole community. That's all the people that I meet, which is amazing. Like yourself,
Yeah.
exactly.
And you have a really engaged audience, which I love seeing. You have people that are sharing their videos, sharing the growth. It's very fun to kind of see the level of both vulnerability as people do like week one, and we're all like we all have the same week one, right? Where you're just like, this is cool, I have a sword, and then you're like, oh, I actually can be graceful. I am familiar with holding the weight of it, even though it is a lighter practice because obviously they're destined not to be sharp. You know what I mean? So we can honor the shape without having any harm to us, which is beautiful.
Exactly. You have no idea how many times I've hit myself with that sword. If those swords were sharp, yeah, I would be like caught up everywhere. But it's the beauty of it is, yeah, exactly, honoring the shape without hurting yourself and really just feeling that power, feeling that gracefulness that you can get from the straight sword, the elegance. I mean, I
Mhm.
could go on about the straight sword. Like I said, I fell in love with it so much. I used to actually sleep with it when I was training
I
in the
love
Kung Fu
that.
Academy. I
Yeah.
used to sleep with it. Like one of the teachings that the masters used to tell us was when you practice your form. So in Kung Fu, you have forms that you practice every day. These are kind of choreographed, like you kick, you hit, etc. So that's a form. And so when I was practicing my straight sword forms, one of the lessons that we would learn from the master to become better and better at it is before you go to sleep, you practice the form in your head over and over again until you sleep. Instead of counting sheep, you practice what you did physically, but just mentally, so that you kind of it just becomes so second nature at that point. And so I would actually fall asleep with my sword, visualizing my sword practice. And then, yes, I was like, when I tell you, in love with it. I just yeah, and that's why it stayed with me. That's why it continued on to my yoga practice. It didn't just stay in the martial arts.
That is beautiful. And we've talked about a little bit how intentional and supportive kind of the practice is, but I want to shift a little bit to that mind body, which you've already opened up the door for, that mind body spirit connection, where we're incorporating breath work and we're also incorporating movements that are familiar for those of us that have taken a yoga class. You know, you're very clear about this is more of the warrior two stance or what have you. So I would love to see kind of talk through your experiences and your studies that made you see this incredible value in this approach of that mind body spirit connection.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's very interesting because the practice itself has been so internal, intuitive, and physical that putting words into the practice is still difficult for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love to teach the practice rather than speak about the practice, or I love to do it rather than speak about it because I still feel like I can't communicatively do it justice in terms of how it feels and you know, like when it comes to physical movement, it's harder to talk about it than to just say, hey, pick it up, let's see how you feel, try this, inhale, expand your chest, you know. But for me, the practices that I've done, I've really rooted the sword yoga practice and the weapon up platform to be kind of traditional in one sense that I like to share the basics and you practice the basics over and over again. So you do your sword flowers and then you do warrior movements like warrior one, warrior two, warrior three, and then you do your ninjas or skandasana postures. And you practice that over and over again because when you do your basics, suddenly after a year of practice, after 6 months of practice, you can do something advanced that you didn't even know your body could do. Because why? Your basics are helping you with your hamstring flexibility. Your basics are helping you with your coordination. Your basics are helping you with so many different things that all of a sudden, oh, hey, I can do the splits now. I wasn't even practicing for the splits. And these are just physical, like external things. But when you just also practice the same thing over and over again, which is why I also try to limit the amount of videos that students get all at the same time is so that you don't get this kind of monkey brain of like, oh, new class, like let me do that. Like I really want to enforce, even in today's society, which is almost impossible to say, practice that one video 100 times, then you'll get the next video. I mean, you can't do that anymore. But in truth, really, for me, it's about honoring tradition in the sense that you do repetitive movement and you do the breath with them. And that repetitive movement will almost bring you into a meditative state. So by the time you've done it 50 times, you're not even thinking about your sword flower anymore. You're not even thinking about the actual movement anymore. You've entered into a meditative state that this practice then just becomes part of your body. And then suddenly you can do things that look more impressive or seem more impressive to others. Like more advanced postures or more graceful flows or whatever, because you've connected to yourself and your body and your sword through these like sometimes frustrating things to do over and over again. The two disciplines that I really studied when it came to yoga and Kung Fu. So I'm part of the Ashtanga Vinyasa yoga kind of tradition, which is basically a certain set of postures that you practice every day. It doesn't change. And it's not vinyasa in the way where every flow is different every class that you do. You hold the breaths, 5 breaths, and you practice those postures again and again and again in that same exact flow forever. And if you see Ashtangis, they look almost superhuman, like the ones that are extremely advanced, because if they truly dedicated that hour to that practice every single day and they did those same postures, you see how they improve and how their confidence just changes the way that they walk. And it's the same with Shaolin. So when I was studying in the Shaolin Academy, you do that form and you do drills and basics every day. And when I say I did that for 2 years, I did that same thing for 2 years. And if you were to ask the master, can I get something new? Like, can I, like do something cool with this? It's like, no, because you're not even perfect. And that's the thing about tradition that I don't necessarily love because there should be room for strictness and discipline in your practice, but there should also be room for fun and grace and, all of these things, which I think and I felt that the two disciplines lacked. Like there was less room for, today I just want to wake up and grab my sword and dance around or just do a flow rather than having to, really follow this really strict, disciplined, more traditional path. And that's okay, right? So for me, I try to combine both of them. I want to bring in that idea that if you really want to get good, and I think this goes across the board for any type of thing you want to become good at, you have to do the boring things a million times. And then suddenly you'll be good at it because you'll have practiced at the 10,000 hour rule or whatever it is that you want to call it. And it's for me, it's the same with this. It's just I try to bring in the mind body experience by just saying, just do it. Pick up the sword, just do it. But you're gonna have to be repetitive for some time and then you'll get meditative into it and then you'll make it your own.
Which we also see in other traditions. Like I have a background in dance, right? Ballet, you do one through fifth position over and over again. And even at the highest levels, they still have the same warm up that the little babies do, and because of
Exactly.
the exact same reasoning. So it's really beautiful to honor and also be like, some days it's just your body's going to be tight, you feel differently. And wherever you're at, there's grace for that, which we love, right?
Totally, totally. And there's no need to, that's the thing also, there's no need to criticize wherever you are with
Mm.
this. For me, the sword is already like it kind of becomes your companion and the extension of your body in the way that like if you're not feeling graceful that day, just look to your sword to kind of make you feel that. It's kind of a prop that can already bring you into the energy that you might want to embody that day. And if you're already feeling great, the sword just adds it a little bit more. If you're not, use it as a way to help you go to wherever it is that you need. And doesn't matter how you're feeling that day. You can kind of use your visualization to support you in like your highest self if you want to.
Absolutely. No, and that's a perfect segue to talk about really the benefits of this practice and, the science behind this powerful art form.
Yeah, so the benefits of the practice, honestly, I feel like I'm a living example of the benefits of the practice. For me, there's the physical benefits, there's the emotional kind of benefits that you get, and then probably the cognitive benefits that you would get. The physical benefits is you get to move, which is always a great thing. You are becoming more balanced, you are becoming more flexible, which is, I don't know, a lot of different traditions speak about you're only as young as your spine is flexible, or you become more coordinated. And of course, if you're doing more intense like sculpting sessions, you become more toned, more, and you feel more confident. One of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen over and over again, and this is what I love about the community, like when I see the videos that they're sharing, when you first start a practice and you dedicate true time to it, you start going from slouched shoulders and you start to open your heart. You start to straighten your back and you suddenly take up more space. You walk like more confidently. And that's not because, oh, I can like stand on one foot now and I'm a little bit more flexible. It's the combination of all of those things, of taking the time to do this practice for yourself. You will start to embody that practice, and that's the emotional benefits where you start to embody the practice and you become more confident. For me, there is nothing that has helped me be more confident than practicing this in my own spare time. And I used to work for the United Nations for 9 years, and that was a very demanding job. And I was around kind of, let's say, political figures and all of these things where I had to show up very confident because I was the younger person in the room. And it didn't, it was a very um, kind of demanding job in certain senses of the word. In the kind of you have to really show yourself pulled together. You have to be confident around these people, etc., to kind of have a voice and say something there. And the practice, not only does it help you in physical benefits, flexibility, balance, strength, coordination, mobility, it brings you into a space where, hey, if I can do that, why can't I do this? Like, I've become a confident person. And then thirdly, I mean, there are a lot of studies that say um, your neural networks change when you're working with an external object that you're constantly working with. Your coordination increases, but also in your brain, which is really, really interesting. Like the weapon or the thing that you're working with, whether it's a stick, whether it's a sword, whether it's another type of flow object, it actually helps you. It helps your memory, weirdly. It helps your cognition because it's really rewiring or creating different neural kind of pathways or stronger neural pathways to help you like better with memory and cognition, etc., which is an amazing side effect that I didn't know, but I started really trying to look into it and I thought, wow, that's that's a good added bonus. But for me, really, truly, the practice is for the movement and the physical benefit. And it's also for that I stand taller, I walk straighter, and I know like who I am, and that's a warrior. So
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And I feel like the whole vibration of your day shifts when you lean into that power, especially, I know women make up the vast majority of the community, I believe, and to be
yeah,
able to like unleash this and give permission to say, like, you are powerful. Here is a sword. You're doing something very, very cool. No matter what level if you're at, you've taken, one video up to, hundreds. It's like everyone is exceptional just for showing up that day and coming to the mat.
exactly. Exactly. And the thing that I love, and I don't know if you've noticed yourself, like it resonates with so many different types of women. It resonates with like the fire performer, which who I admire, like it like upside down fire performer, or like women that are more traditional in the sense that they're staying at home with their kids, they have a homestead, they're growing chickens, and like, I'm like, what is happening? And like what is being touched in these like externally different, seemingly different women. I don't think that they're very different at heart because if you're being drawn by these similar things, if your heart yearns for like, that feeling, then I don't think they're very different. But externally, if someone was to look at some of the people in our community and compare them side by side, they would think, what do these people have in common? There's no way that they could like the same things. And that's what I love about it because I'm like, I can share that, hey, like no matter where you are, no matter what type of person you think you are, or, you know, it, it's, it's like if you have that feeling for I want to do more and be more powerful, it's not that sword yoga is going to like get you there. It's actually you're going to get yourself there, but there's certain practices that you can bring into your life to help you step into that person that you visualize yourself to be.
That's so beautiful. And I love the accessibility, which I know we've talked about a few times, for literally every person, all shapes and sizes, all abilities. If there's something you're working on, it's totally okay. And we all have something we're working on. And that could just be something, in kind of the introductory videos, you just continue to work on that repetitive practice. Or, you did like a crow video recently where it was just epic. Like there's still like so much
For sure.
yeah, it's just beautiful to have that attainment as well that you're like, wow, maybe one day soon I can do it, but I'm okay where I'm at right now.
Exactly. And that's the thing. You want to have that good balance of basics and then the aspirational parts.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to trickle those aspirational parts little by little as we grow the community because I also don't want to dissuade somebody. If we're sharing, oh, here's me doing a handstand. Okay, cool. Sabina can do a handstand. But like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like what I want to share is that I didn't show up today like this. Like this has been years of background practice, and that's not fair to just show that to people that are starting today. And what I want to say is like you can start today and like let me show you where you can go. And it's really like let me show you through yourself, not by me sharing a video of myself doing it.
Right.
And that's and one thing about accessibility that I think like I'm so grateful in terms of technology and all of these things. One thing about accessibility that I love about this practice is that I truly believe that a lot of the women that are part of our community and that are subscribers to the platform would have never stepped foot in a kung fu academy or like in a kung fu class, would have maybe stepped foot in yoga because it's become a little bit more normalized and there's yoga classes everywhere. But this will bring you, that Shaolin power, as well as, yoga where it's like you can do it in at home on a mat. It doesn't require, that much space. And you can do it kind of hidden away at first. And then if you want to show the world, go ahead.
Mhm.
But it's like it's allowing you to go and do the things that might have seemed scary, or like, am I really gonna go like learn kung fu right now at the age of like 57? Like those are the things that I love about being able to share it, because people can have it at home and then they can slowly work towards like becoming braver in taking other classes that they might be interested in, for example, in the future.
Right. And no one sees if you fall down at home, right? Which we all do.
Exactly.
Like, so it doesn't.
Or if you slap yourself or something like that, yeah, exactly. There's less fear, and I think it becomes more accessible.
Absolutely. So you are expanding the platform with Ellie recently joining the team, and you have ambitious plans ahead. So could you elaborate a little bit on your vision for Weapon Up's growth over the next
Yeah,
year?
of course. So I'm really excited to be expanding. I think Ellie was an amazing addition because, she was somebody that just started last year when we launched. So we launched last year, May 2024. And we had like an amazing kind of initial wave of people who really loved it. And Ellie was one of them. And it's been so incredible to see someone go from true beginner, student, never having held the sword in her life, to now being one of the instructors on the platform. And so now we want to, and for me, that's a true, like, I don't know what to say. Like, if that's not a like, hey, you can do this too kind of thing, if that's not kind of a progress or
A testament. Yeah.
exactly a testament to what can be possible if you just dedicate a little bit of time. But for me, the expansion of the platform, there will be new instructors coming. We want to get some more instructors, more practice of sword yoga, but also we're expanding into maybe potentially different weapons. Like we've started the double sword. And the main thing is this is news, but so I want to release it here. We've actually just we're going to be receiving our first ever shipment of our own custom swords that we will be sharing with the community. So something that we've designed, and that is WeaponUp branded, sleek, elegant, and that represents kind of that sword for everybody. And this is coming to the platform as well. So there's going to be expansion in multiple directions, especially these next, 6 months. And so I'm very excited. And thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Yes. And please tell the audience where they can find you and Weapon Up.
So you can find us at weaponup.com, and we are very excited to receive you. We're HSA, FSA eligible, which is amazing. So you can kind of use that if you have it. And we also have our Sword Plus membership bundle. So you don't need to do anything. Just step on your mat. You have your sword that we deliver right to your door, and you can grab your membership and practice. We have hundreds of videos on the platform and many more coming. And if you don't like me, there will be different instructors there. So I'm really excited for anybody who is called to this to really try it and join us. And please, I mean, it's you're welcome. That's it. That's all I have to say. Just you're welcome to join us at theweaponup.com.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you so much for being here. I do have the Sword Plus membership. It was incredible to get it. I was like literally tracking it, being like, where is my sword? I love it so much. So, no, it's awesome.
Thank you so much, Tristan. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you to the audience for watching Musings and Modalities with me, your pragmatic shaman bestie. Tune in the second and fourth Thursdays of each month at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern for more fabulous episodes. Thank you so. You've been listening to Musings and Modalities with me, Tristen, your pragmatic shaman bestie. For more powerful healing tools, join me every second and fourth Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. I cover a variety of topics to meet you wherever you are at on your spiritual journey. Learn techniques to work with pendulums, past life healing, astrology, and more. Please share the show and subscribe for more guidance from your pragmatic shaman bestie at musingsandmodalities.com.